From soon, not be attending. Okay. Good afternoon, people.
Good afternoon, teacher.
Yeah. Okay. Today we had agreed that we are going to look at cross-section, and majority of you said that you have issues with how to draw a cross-section. But today, at least, inshallah, we are going to try at least to get some solution. So, before we start, which other name do you know for the cross-section? People have been trying cross-section. Which other name? Which other name? You can put it in the chat room, it's okay. Which other name? Oh, you don't know. You tell me, teacher, for us, we don't know, so that we proceed. Any other name? You don't know, eh? Okay, if at all you don't know, a cross-section, they give two things. We have a cross-section. A cross-section. It can also be called a relief. Relief section. Those are the two names. When you find a cross-section or a relief section, don't be confused. Am I clear? Am I clear, people?
Yes, teacher.
Yes. Whenever you find a cross-section, sometimes they can call it a relief section. The reason why they call it a relief section or a cross-section is because it helps us to know either you're on the hill or on the valley. Now, let me share this work and you see. This presentation, let me share it and you see. Let me go here. Who can help us to read there? Who can help us to read there? Yes, Aile, you can read for us.
What is a cross-section? Cross-sections are line graphs that show a sideways view of a landscape. They can show features such as hills and valleys or depths such as the depth of a river. Cross-sections of hills use contour lines to determine the height of the land.
Yeah, thank you, Aile. Now, when you look at a cross-section, what they are trying to say, when we talk about a cross-section, we are going to see whether you're on the hill, you're on the valley, you are where. I get what I'm trying to say. So whenever we talk about a cross-section, even now what we need to know, let me take you to the blackboard and you see. As you know, sometimes they give you these, I don't know whether I know how to draw a cake. Let me say here, they put here a P, D, D. Now that's a cake. But when you get and you cut it like this, kind of it's going to look something like, I don't know, to look like kind of like, something. The diagram has not come out very well, but the way you get a knife and you cut the cake, then you view it in this way. That's what we mean by a cross-section. Am I clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
teacher.
before I proceed, you need to ask questions at that stage before we start. So what you need to know, a cross-section is like the way you get, the cake and you cut it. The way you view it after cutting one part, that's what we mean by a cross-section. Am I clear? Now let me share again and you see what we mean by a cross-section. Are you seeing what we mean by a cross-section? Are you seeing on that diagram? So for me, I can know that either in this view, I can know whether I'm on the hill, I'm on the valley, I'm on the what. That's how a cross-section, when we talk about a cross-section, that's what we mean. Am I clear? Any question before we proceed? That's a good example of a cross-section. Am I clear? Before we go, we need to understand what's a cross-section, because sometimes people, they draw cross-section, but they don't understand. When we talk about a cross-section, they don't understand. I get what I'm trying to say. So now let me show you, like for example, I don't have a duster here. Okay. Let me get a paper here. Let me use someone who's Like for example, assuming that we have drawn a cross section from passing through Lake Victoria up to the side of Kabale. So it will look like this. Kabale is on the west. This is west and this is east. Are you seeing it? So when we come from Lake Victoria is going to look like a pencil. Then as you come, then you go to the side of Kabale. I think the cross section is going to look like that. I think our cross section is going to look like that. This is Lake Victoria. I think. Okay, to say people.
Yes, teacher.
That's what we mean. So when I talk about a cross section, it's as if a knife and I cut from Lake Victoria as I go to the side of Kabale. Kabale, you know that Kabale is a hilly area and this is Lake Victoria, then this side before reaching Kabale. That's what we mean by cross section. Are you getting it? Even you saw it when you were looking at we call it what? The Sierra Nevada, the cross section for what? For California. That's what we mean. So before I proceed, are we okay with that? When I talk about a cross section, are we okay with that? Have you understood what we mean by a cross section? Yes. If at all you have a question, you ask before we proceed so that it can help us to be somewhere. Now, let me see here in the presentation here. Okay, after seeing that, that's how a cross section is represented. And a cross section, what we need to know, assuming today, for today, we are going to use this to draw our cross section. Am I clear? So people, just help me. What we are going to do, everyone just get a full scope in a page which is free. And I tell you what to do. Have you got them? Just get a full scope. Let me hope my signal is clear. Am I clear to everyone?
Yes,
teacher.
So just get a full scope. Just get a full scope. I just need someone with a full scope. Everyone get a full scope and I tell you what to do. Have you got? Just you need to get your book and you get a free page. Just a free page. When there is nothing, then I tell you something to draw.
teacher, we have goals.
Now, what we are going to do, you look at what I'm drawing on the BB. So on your paper, I want you to get a point called A, point A, that is A. Then you, from A, you draw there a line. Please, let me show you. We are starting here. I want you to say point A, and this one you call it point B. But between point A and B, let us use 16 centimeters. Are we done?
Yes, teacher.
Between point A and B, let us use 16 centimeters. Let us use 16 centimeters. Are we done with that? Just get your ruler and you put it there. You measure 16 centimeters.
Finish.
Are you done? So, what I want you to do, first observe what I'm drawing. We draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can draw even here 6. That last one, we just bring it here. Let it come here. Make it be like this. First wait, I complete. Then here, even if I remove, I've said from here it is 16 centimeters. Then here we can draw something like this. Even this one like this. Even inside like this. Can you see it very well? I want you, you don't need to measure, just draw something like that between. Are you getting it? You draw something like that on your paper. You don't mind about the spaces between, don't mind. Am I clear? For me, what I want you to do is to draw such a shape on your full scan. Am I clear? That's what I need. Just draw that shape. Just draw that shape. You tell me when you are through. Just draw that shape. And
I am through.
Yeah, and our vertical interval is going to be 100 feet. We are going to see that a vertical interval is too important here. Feet. Let it be vertical interval, our vertical interval. Yeah, before we proceed, what do we mean by vertical interval? When I say vertical interval, that what comes into your mind when I talk about vertical interval? Yes, Jordana.
The vertical interval is the space between each contour. What I
It's
see.
the difference between closest contour. The difference one and this one is what we call the closest contour. Like for example, number 1, number 2, number 3. Number 1 and number 2 are closest neighbors. Oh, but number 1 and number 3, they are not closest neighbors. So here when we mean by vertical interval, we are meaning the difference between two contours. Are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, teacher.
Now, after that, this one, I think you are seeing here, let us give it 800. This contour, 800. This one you are seeing here, I want you to have kind of the same shape. Even if the spaces are big, it's fine. But as long as you have the same shape here. Now this one from here to here, this one you name it 800. we give it 800. We are going to learn how to use only one contour to get the number of other contours. You're done. I'm seeing your hand is still up. Are you asking anything? Okay, it's okay. So people, we are going to learn how to get numbers for other contours even if they are not given. Me just having one contour with a number is enough for me to get the number for other contours. So for me, I have selected only this one. I have my vertical interval. So we are going to see how do we get other numbers. Am I clear?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Are we done with that? This diagram and writing that number? Are we done? It's better you draw it
Yes,
with a pen.
Yes, teacher.
Are we done? Should I proceed?
Yes.
And now people, you see, there are some rules. These contours, when you look at them, the rules governing contours, some of you think these people who they give him up extract with contours, you think they gamble. These people, they don't gamble. Okay, what we need to know about this one, when we know the rules governing contours, when you find contours, when they are in this shape, what am I supposed to do? Am I clear? But now looking at this one, assuming we are having this one and this one, they are three. Always, like assuming this one is number, the vertical interval here, we say that VI is 5. So if I thought this one is 5, the vertical interval is 5 here, and this one is 5. What's the number for this one, which is inside? What's the number? Who can help us? If I thought the vertical interval is 5, okay, like assuming 5 centimeters, then what's that? Yes, I'm seeing Nancy in there.
10 centimeters.
Yeah, so we go on adding 5, 5, 10. Then this one inside is going to be what?
15.
It's going to be 15. Are you seeing how important our vertical interval is?
15 centimeters.
Yeah. Do you know why we do like that? Why the smaller one inside the coil is higher than the other one which is outside? Do you know why?
No.
No.
Okay.
We don't know.
Okay, people, you see, let me show you this example. Are you seeing the mountain? At the beginning, the mountain is large, is bigger. When I draw a circle here, as I climb, reduces. As at the time I reach at the top, it's going to be small. It's the same thing here. When I'm starting climbing, the mountain is large. Even when you try to move around it, it is large. But the more you climb, it reduces. Like people, a good example I can give, you get a cone. Do you know a cone?
A comb.
A cone, like this cone is for ice cream.
Yeah.
Yes, teacher.
Now, let me share something here before. Let me share something here, and you see what I'm trying to say. Let me put the contour. Contour lines. Let me get this picture. Do you get what I'm trying to say when you look at this picture? Do you see what I'm trying to say? At the beginning of the hill, it looks large. I think it looks large. Then as inside, you go on reducing. You reduce on the size, but you increase on height. Are you getting? The more you continue to climb, I think the one continue to climb, I'm inside the circle becomes small, but in terms of elevation, I'm climbing. The more I continue to climb, I see how I'm climbing. The more I continue, I climb. Don't you see that the more I enter inside the circle, I'm reducing on the size of the circle, but I'm increasing in the height. I see, eh? By the time I reach here, it's going to be a small circle. It's going to be the highest point. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Have you got it?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone who has not understood? I think this picture can help you to understand it very well.
Yes.
Have you? Like the way you see even this one, it can give you another picture. When I'm outside, it is bigger. The more I climb, yeah, are you seeing it? So those shapes where we find that, and even in our normal life, we know that a mountain at the top is smaller, but at the beginning is wide. What I'm trying to say. So it's the same idea here. I think now we have understood it. I think it is clear, eh? Not so? Even this one, I can show it to you.
Teacher.
It's giving you the same explanation. It's the same explanation. Even let me bring this one to bring it out. Are you seeing this animation, what they are trying to mean? Are you seeing this picture? At the beginning, that's how contours be like. Then the more you climb, they reduce like that, like that. Are you seeing it?
Teacher. Yes.
Yeah, I think now we have understood when we talk about the contour. You have understood what I'm trying to mean.
Yes.
Now, after knowing that, it's the same idea we are going to use here. It's the same idea we are going to use here. Someone may be there asking, but teacher, can't we find a mountain at the top when it is wide? At the beginning, it is small. Have you ever seen such a mountain? That a mountain at the beginning is small, but at the top is wide. Have you ever seen it? Yeah? People, have you ever seen such a mountain?
No.
Down?
No.
Those figures, you find them in girls, not in mountains. Yeah, those figures where you find that they are big, but the legs are small. Those figures are in women.
Okay.
Okay, people, let us proceed. Are we clear there? Any question before I proceed? Because if at all we understand here, automatically, we are fine. Now, we don't have the number here. Which number is this one now? Which number is this one?
700.
This 700. Yeah, thank you. Then what about this one inside?
900.
Then another one as we climb inside. You go on adding
1,000.
1,000. Then when we come to this one, it's 1,000 what? 1,000.
1,100.
Now, after knowing that this one is 1,000, this one is 700, what's the answer for this one? As I climb down, what's the answer? Assuming
600.
600.
It's 600.
Now, what's the answer of this one? Starting from outside, as I climb.
700.
700. 700.
700. Now, people, look here. If at all you find the contours are inside, this one, if at all is 700, this one is going to be 800, and this one is going to be 800. These ones are like twins. It's the same thing here with this one and this one because they share the same motherboard. When I come from here, I go to 700. When I come from here, I go to 700. Do you get the idea? Have you understood it?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Am I clear? People, when we understand this language, just know you are going to enjoy cross-section. When we understand this language, that if at all I find the contours are like this, they are inside each other, automatically I know from here, I just go to the contour interval. So the contour interval is too important, but the vertical interval, the common vertical intervals for me, you see, we have 50 feet. We have another one, 100 feet. Then another common one, they tend to give 20 meters. So, like some year they gave them 20 meters, but people were used to feet. So before you do anything, you have to first go, assuming this is your map extract. In that on the left-hand down corner, that's where you find the vertical interval. It's always written VI and the number. That's where you know either it's in the meters or it's in the feet. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Are we clear, people there? Always when we want to get a vertical interval, these are the common one. These are the common one, 50, 100, and 20 meters. Those are the common ones for me, I see. Now, after getting this one, automatically this answer is going to be what? 800. Then this one is going to be 900. Are you seeing that we have used only one number to fill in the other numbers? Are you seeing?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the knowledge. You ask before you proceed. You ask before I proceed. If I've understood that stage, can I proceed? Okay, let us go to another stage. Okay. Now, all of us, we have this diagram, not so? All of us, we have this.
Yes.
Now, let us start drawing. Let me remove the downer part so that it can make sense to us. Let me remove the downer part so that it can make sense to us. I have removed. Now, assuming this is the one, already this is my paper. I assume this is my paper.
Yes.
I see, I assume this is my paper. Now already I have marked.
Yeah.
Yes?
Teacher, should we also wrap?
For you. Oh, okay, you can you can rub if at all you want, because we need only one part to use to draw cross section. Remember when you put it on
What
the
if
map,
we leave it?
it's okay. You can fold it in the middle. For you, what you do, just get that paper, you fold it. Instead of rubbing, you fold it in the middle where A and B, then you get one part. One part. But people, listen. Now let me take you to the stages. You have to get where it right. We are learning how to draw a cross section. That's the topic for today. Now, already we have seen how a cross section is represented. That's how a cross section looks like. Then we have seen. Now, people listen. When they tell you draw a cross section between A and B, I'm repeating. When they tell you draw a cross section between A and B, between, the question is saying draw a cross section between A and B. What they are trying to say that the point which is mentioned first is supposed to be on your left hand side. The point which is mentioned the last is supposed to be on the right hand side. Am I clear there?
Yes, teacher.
They said draw a section between B and A. No, you have not understood. When they say draw a cross section between Namudaala's home and Jordana's home, which one was mentioned first?
Namudaala's home.
You are going to say Namudaala's home is going to be on your left, because in the English way, we start from left to right. So the point which is mentioned first is supposed to be on left, and the one mentioned last is supposed to be. So here I say Jordana's home. Are you getting it? When they say cross section between B and A, so now I have to turn. So it means that I have to turn this paper. B becomes my first point, then A becomes my first point. You try to fold your paper. You try to fold your paper. You will know when I say from B to A. Then for you, what you have to do, you make sure that B is on the left when they say between B and A. Am I clear?
Teacher,
Yes, teacher.
teacher, please repeat.
Shadia, what I'm saying.
Yes, teacher.
Let me get a paper here to show you what I'm trying to do. Okay, when they say, let me get, I think this mark is going to go past. Let me get this mark and reduce something. And you see what I'm trying to say. Let me write here and I say A and B. So assuming this is my ruler here, let me join the 2 points. Now, Shadia, look at this paper. When they said draw a cross section from A to B, this is how I'm going to do my work. Let me use like this. Let me do like this. A, I'm going to say A, B. That's how I'm going to do. But when they tell me from B to A, then it will be B, A.
Teacher,
now,
on my you're frozen.
Oh, sorry, I think it's your network. Assuming this is the main line. Now, when they tell me draw a cross section from A to B, I'll just do like this. So, this is B? No, it's going to be like this. Let me change. It's going to be like this. So my left is having A, then B on my right. Now, when they tell me draw a cross section from B to A, it's going to be like this. My B is going to be on my left, then my A. Are you seeing that just I'm inter-switching? Assuming that I've been using this paper. When they tell me from B to A, so my left, my B. Then when they tell me from A to B, I'll just change. So I'll say my B, this is on left, this is on right. Are you seeing the idea? I just change. Have you got the idea now, Shadia?
Yes, teacher.
I think all of us, we are same point.
Teacher, you said between A and B, the A comes first and the B comes last, right? Yeah. So when they say between and when they say from, it's different things.
Okay, when they say almost always, they say between this and this. For example, they can tell you, this is the common things you are going to find in your exams. It's going to be, they are not going to use A and B. For them, they will tell you, draw a cross section between, either they can say between borehole at, they give you the grid number like 3, 4, 6, 7, 0. Between borehole, this and this, 2, down, or and either they can set down at, they give you a grid number 3, 7, 0, 6, 7, 1, 0. So the point, when you look at this statement, which point was mentioned first?
The borehole point.
So even if the borehole is here and this one is here, the dam is here and the borehole is here. So what we are going to do is, so on our paper, we are going to change it like this. We are going to move this one, like, so it's going to be like borehole dam. I see. But if at all they tell us, draw a cross section between, assuming this is the borehole and this is the dam. And they tell us draw a cross section between the dam and the borehole. It means that now I have to change this dam to come. It's going to be here, my dam. Then the borehole is going to be
on the left.
Borehole is going to be here, dam is going to be. It's about just changing the paper. So that the dam is on the left and the borehole is on the right. Am I clear?
Tell me, I'm confused.
You are confused.
Me too. Me too. The things I've refused.
Okay, just hold me and you draw a dam on your paper and a borehole. Then you join them. Let me show you. Let me give you an example. Just draw like this, a dam and a borehole. Then when I tell you draw a borehole, automatically I'm going to do like this. Assuming this is the dam, let me say, this is the dam, borehole. Then here is going to be borehole, dam. Are you seeing? It's like this. So when they tell me draw a cross section between a borehole, a dam, and a borehole, I have to change. Then I make sure that the dam is on my left. Let me show you. I make sure that the dam is on my left, then the borehole is on my right. Are you seeing how I have changed it? I got it. It's a matter of just changing. Then when they tell me a borehole, then I'll just change. I'll just change like this. Now the borehole is on the left. It's the beginning point. Then the dam is on the right-hand side. Like, are you getting? It's a matter of just changing. Yes.
Just so like the place that they give us last is the one that we first label.
It's the one you put last.
Like is that it's
It's the one you put last.
okay.
Are you getting it?
Hello?
Yes.
Teacher, I thought you said the first point should be the first, meaning it's on the left.
The first one is on the first one to be mentioned is supposed to be on left, because in the English way, we start from left as we go to right.
Yes, teacher.
Yeah. Are you getting it?
Okay.
Yes.
Don't do it in the Arabic way where they
We
start
have
from
got.
right. Have you understood it?
Yes, teacher.
It's just simple. The name mentioned first, or the point which is mentioned first, is the one you put on the left. It's the one you start with. Then you just say a borehole, a dam. It's a matter of just changing the paper. Are you getting? Are we getting it?
Yes, teacher, we have got it.
Now, for us, the common thing we are going to say, they will be telling you draw a cross section along northern. They give you the northern, along northern, either 30 between easting, either 11 to 19. So what you need to know that if at all this is my northern, not what are northern, these are lines which increase as you go northwards. So this is the northern. So they have told us between 11 to easting 19. Have you got the idea? The point, which point was mentioned first, it is easting. Then it's 11, then 19. Have you got it what I'm trying to say?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this one is going to be too common. It's going to be too common where they tell you along this line, but between this point and this point. So you just identify that line along that line. Then you know from which point to which point. The point which is mentioned first on left and the one mentioned last on right hand side. Are we clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher, we are clear.
Yes, teacher.
Now let us draw this one. As we see, let us draw this one, the cross section. Now, on the cross section, the first step, let me show you on the screen. The first step, step 1, who can read for us there? Step 1, who can read for us there?
Me. Identify the points. Identify the. Oh.
Read.
Identify the points of interest, e.g., between A and B, or between B and A, or along easting 20 between northern 11 and 19. The point measured first is supposed to be on the left, the starting point.
Yeah, have you got it? Are you seeing that 11 was mentioned first, then this is how we do it. That's the first step. Now, people, what you have to do, you go on the graph paper. Do you have graph papers there?
Yes.
Now, we said how many
Yes,
centimeters
teacher.
are between A and B? Remember at the beginning. We said
16.
so you draw that line of 16. On the starting point, you put there northern 11. And you put there A. Just put there A. And the other side, you put there B. You draw a line. You draw a line. Am I clear? Just draw a line of 16 centimeters at the beginning point. So what I want you to do, you come here, like for example here, assuming this is my, let me see whether you see. I mark here, even I mark here. Remember when you are marking, it's the other paper that gives you what to mark. So I know I'm between this one and this one. So what I'm going to do, the first thing we do on the cross section is to draw this line. But where do we get this line? Who can help us? Where do we get this distance? This one we call it distance. We call it A and B. Where do we get the distance from? The distance we get it from the space between the 2 points. On our cross section, we are going to be drawing. The difference always is going to be here on the distance. People, are you done drawing? A and B. Are you done drawing that line?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah. Now, you help me and you count two 2 centimeters. You count 2 centimeters on that line and tell me how many portions of 2 centimeters have you got?
8 portions.
Hey, I have said that line, you divide it into 2 centimeters. You count 1, 2, one part, 1, 2, 1, 2, like that. And you tell me how many spaces of 2 centimeters have you got? Have you got what I'm trying to say?
8.
How many people?
8 portions.
Yeah, I have
No.
8 portions.
Now, people, always, that's what you do. You take 2, then you come and write distance.
8.
You say distance and you say 8 kilometers. Are you getting it?
Teacher, can you please first
Repeat, teacher.
Now, when you look at a real map extract, that square box you see is equivalent to 2 centimeters. And that's one side of a square, it is equivalent to 1 kilometer on the actual ground. People were having map extracts. Let me try to see whether here I can get a map extract and see what I'm trying to say. Let me try to see whether I can get a map extract here. Where is my Google? Okay, let me get it here so that you can see. Where is my Google Classroom? It's here, let me get it. And you get what I'm trying to say. Where is Form 3? Here, my Form 3 is here. Let me get a map extract and you see. Where is the map extract? Want map extract. The map extract is here. Let me take you to the key. That's where we are going to get the evidence. People, let me zoom in and you see. Are you seeing where we see this scale? Are you seeing this scale? This space from here up to here is equivalent to 2 centimeters. And when you come to the map extract, let me show you. When you come to the map extract, here they tell you it's kilometers. I think each part you see here is a kilometer, but it's of 2 centimeters when you put there a ruler. Have you got what I'm trying to say?
Yes, teacher.
When you get your ruler and you put it in you try to measure from 9 to 10, you will see that they are 2 centimeters. But on actual ground, they are representing 1 kilometer. Each space here, you see black 1 kilometer, white 1 kilometer. So it's the same as what we are drawing here. When you count to 2 centimeters on a graph paper, you are like counting 1 kilometer, 1 kilometer, 1 kilometer, 1 kilometer. So you count how many spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you say distance, 8 kilometers. Am I clear? Yes, Businji, I'm seeing your
answer. Excuse me, teacher. So technically what we are supposed to do is divide our distance, which we get in centimeters, by 2, and that's how we get the distance in kilometers.
Thank you. You just put there your ruler and you say, hey, how many centimeters? Then you say, I've got 17.8. Then when I divide by 2, what do I get? When you divide by 2, what do you get?
8.9.
You get 8.9, no? So when you get 8.9, you just say 8.9 kilometers. You write it here. Don't you see that it is easy? And this one, we need it. For you, what you know, if at all they tell you a distance from a borehole to a dam is here, then then what you need to know, you get the distance, the centimeters between A and this one. Then when you get like 20 centimeters, you divide by 2, then you get 10. Then you say 10 kilometers. Then you come and write distance, 10 kilometers. Am I clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Teacher, to write the distance.
Pardon?
Is it a must to write the distance?
Yeah, it's a must. It's a must. Because this one is
The word distance.
yeah, you get distance. Because distance is measured in kilometers and meters. But here on the map extract, even when you look at the scale on the map extract, is saying kilometers. So you have to say distance 8 kilometers. Am I clear? It's a must, it's a requirement on the cross section. Am I clear?
Yes, teacher.
Now, let us go to the next step. After drawing that, our next step is going to be, as I have shown you here. For you, what you do, if at all you don't know how to measure, you just get the distance of your area, the 2 points, you put it on the graph paper, automatically you divide by 2. You take 2, 2, 2, 2 until you get, if at all it's ending here, you just say 8.5. If at all it's ending at 7, then you say 8.7. Am I clear? Now, let us go to the next step. That is stage 2. Are you following the stages and are you noting down the stages? We start with the horizontal line. We give it the distance. Already we have the points. Down the next, yes?
Where do we rate a point? Like, for in case it was like the, okay, explain that part where you're like point something.
I think here our point is northern 11 and northern 19. So one you put it on the left, another you put it on the right. But as I have said, the point which is mentioned in the first is supposed to be on the left-hand side. The one mentioned in the last is supposed to be on the right-hand side, as you see on the blackboard. Am I clear?
Yes.
Have you understood it? Should I go to the next stage? Have we understood the starting point?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, who can read for us?
Teacher, me.
Yeah, yes, read.
Step 2, draw vertical lines. These lines are drawn on left and right, but the lines are not supposed to go beyond 6 centimeters vertically.
Yeah. The next stage is to draw vertical lines on left and on right, but they are not supposed to go beyond 6 centimeters vertically. Write it down. On this line we have drawn, on left we are going to draw a line going up, but the line we are going to draw on left is not supposed to go beyond 6 centimeters. That's the rule. When you are drawing a cross section, you are not supposed to go beyond 6 centimeters vertically. Have you written it down?
Yes, teacher.
Let I write them the way I have organized them. Now, what do they mean here? That's what they mean. When you draw a line on left and even on right, but you're not supposed to go beyond 6 centimeters. Look at the centimeters we are having. We are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's the same here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you do that on your graph paper? Even me, let me do it. Here, I'm going to count, I'm going to draw a line. Even this side, I draw a line. But this line is not supposed to go beyond 6 centimeters. I'm going to divide assuming and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not supposed to go beyond 6. Even here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it's not supposed to go beyond 6 centimeters on both sides. Are you done with that? You draw there a line. Are we done with that?
Yes, teacher.
Are we done? We go to the next step. We go to the next step.
Yes.
teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
All of us, we have understood that step. The good thing, this lesson, I'm going to put it in the our system so that you find it there. I'll write there how to draw a cross section, so that if at all you have not understood, you go again and you review the lesson. Now,
Okay, thank you, teacher.
I will send it in the group.
you can only find it in the Google Classroom, in the Navisunsa e-learning platform. I'll put,
exactly?
you see there, we are going to put there, you go to geography. In geography, you find there recorded lessons.
Oh, okay. Thank you, teacher.
You see the name. This one, I would name it how to draw cross section. Then I put there my name, Teacher Namudaala. Yes, Patience, I'm seeing your hand is up.
Teacher, I wanted to ask, like this is the graph paper. So like what centimeters do you have to leave down and maybe like on the sides, like the estimation?
For the centimeters, remember when you are drawing, let me show you. For the cross section, we advise you to use your paper in the horizontal rectangle like this. So for you, make sure that down you leave some space, but you draw it in the middle here. Are you getting it? Are you seeing the way I have hold my paper?
Yes, teacher.
This is how you draw it, because sometimes the distance is always large or wide. That's why we advise you to draw it, not to draw it in this way. We advise you to draw it in this way. Am I clear?
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Just so we draw it the way you're holding the paper.
Yeah, this is how you are supposed to draw it that way, not in this way, the way we draw graphs. No, we draw it this way. Why? Because all of them, they are going to have all cross sections. They are not going to go beyond 6 centimeters vertically, but the difference is going to be with the distance. Have you got what I'm trying to say? People,
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
All cross sections you are going to be drawing, they are not going to go beyond 6 centimeters vertically, but the difference is always going to be on the width. All Navisunsa girls are having the same height, but the difference is with the what? I think you have understood.
The width.
Hippos.
Height, but the size here will vary. One is having one from Acholi, another is having like a small like mine, like that. But all of you, we say that the Sunsa girls are having the same height, but the distance is going to be here.
Okay, teacher.
Now, after that, we go to the next stage. Should I proceed to the next? Step 3. Who can read for us for stage 3?
Teacher, me.
How you read?
How to find the starting lowest contour minus vertical. How to find the starting lowest contour minus vertical interval. That's to say like 900 feet or meters minus 100 feet or meters equals to 800 feet or meters.
Now, let us come back on the blackboard. Now, we look at our point. This one, already here we have 800. This one is 700. Then this one is 600. Now, on our area, I think our area of interest, we want to get which number we're starting with. That one, we call it the starting point. The starting point. Which number should we write here? And how do we get that starting point? The method is simple. You get the lowest point on your area of interest. And our lowest point is what? Look at here, these numbers. Which is the lowest?
600.
600.
So we are going to get 600 minus our vertical interval. And our vertical interval is what? 100.
100 feet.
What answer are we getting now?
500. 500.
So you come on this side, right? 500, even here, 500. Do you know why we do that?
No.
No.
Because when we say a bucket is the shortest girl in Narisunsa, but when we are drawing a graph to represent the height of the like height of girls in Narisunsa, we don't want to undermine the bucket so much. We shall say, okay, bucket, we appreciate you are the shortest, but let us go just a step down. So instead of drawing and write 600 here, we go a step down, but that step always is over vertical interval. Have you got what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
That point.
Because we would have put 600 here, but we want to know that 600, although we appreciate you are the shortest, but we don't want to undermine you. Let us go just a step to pretend that also now you have some height. But that step we go, we use the vertical interval. Sometimes the vertical interval may be 50 feet. So if I told you give a number like 350, and this is the lowest, so minus our vertical interval. So our starting point is going to be, so you can write 300. So that we don't exactly start on 350. Am I clear?
Yes.
Have you got that idea?
Yes,
Have you got the
teacher.
idea?
Yes, teacher.
Should I proceed?
Yes.
Yes.
So all of us, let us write that. We write 500, 500. That step I have told you starting point. Starting point, you get the lowest contour minus the vertical interval. Here, our lowest contour was 600 minus our vertical
100.
100.
We have got 500.
500.
500.
That's the beginning point. This is our beginning point. Am I clear?
Yes, teacher.
We need to be fast because time is against us. What's the time now? Let me see.
337.
336.
So we need to be fast. So already we have taken like 1 hour and we need to finish up this thing. Should I proceed?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
So this is the starting point. Are we clear? All of us, we are clear with the starting point. LC means log contour minus vertical interval. Then we proceed. Okay, let us proceed. Let us try to be fast because we are remaining like 20 minutes or 10 minutes. So we need to be fast so that I leave you and you go and do your things. Now, the next stage, let me get it. Next step is going to be step, as you have seen here, what we have done, this is the method. This method, you don't do it on the graph paper. It's side work. Am I clear? It is side work. You don't do it on the graph paper. It is side work for you do it on the side, like side what I mean on your rough paper. Am I clear?
Yes, but does it earn marks?
Yes, teacher.
No, it doesn't earn you marks, but remember you are getting methods, you are putting them here. Are you getting it? Because even you have to write there is somewhere you get the number you use there. So for us, that's how we get it. You do it side work. Now, let us proceed. Stage 4. Who can read for us?
Teacher, me.
Yes.
Step 4. How to find the vertical scale. Highest contour minus starting point divided by 5 centimeters. 1,600 minus 800 divided by 5 centimeters.
Okay.
1 centimeter. I stop there.
You can stop there,
1
but
centimeter. Okay. Represents 160 feet.
Have you got here? First write the method. The method is HC minus SP divided by. So let me write it on the blackboard. Let me write it on the blackboard. How do we get the vertical scale? Vertical scale. And the vertical scale, what we want to say 1 centimeter real. We want to know which number are we going to go on adding here. But how do we get it? This is how we get it. We get the highest contour minus the starting point. We divide by 5 centimeters. Are you getting it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, our highest here is what? Our highest there is what? Look at our
1,100.
100.
Our starting point is what?
500.
500. We divide by 5 centimeters. So people are having calculators. Can you get for us this answer? People are having calculators. Get this one. And
120.
600.
120.
120.
120.
120, yeah? 1
Yes.
centimeter, 120. But as I showed you here, let me show you. The numbers we are supposed to use, you look at what way I'm saying, but it's better to use 1 centimeter real, either 50 feet, or we say 1 centimeter real, 100 feet, or we can say 1 centimeter real, 150. So when you look at this one, which is suitable for our answer, because we don't want to use this one, it will confuse us. It's better we use a number which is having 5 or 100 like that. So of that three, which one are we taking?
100.
100.
100 100 is below this one. We cannot use it.
150.
150.
150.
You select a number. You select a number which is above that amount. If at all I get 1 centimeter, then I get 60. Which number should we take here?
100.
Yeah, I take 100. Get 180. Which number should we use?
200.
200. I see how easy it is.
Yeah.
I see. You don't need to
Yes,
stress
teacher.
yourself. You don't need to stress yourself. Why? Because the things we are estimating, and you need to use right estimations. Have you got that method, people? And it's a method after dividing here.
Yes, teacher.
Am I clear? So now let us come and have we got this method? People, you have to write. For us, what we need to understand, people, we need to understand the methods. I start with here, I put there a vertical interval, then I get a starting point, then I get the vertical scale. So here, for us, we are going to use 150. Not so. Our vertical scale is going to be 1 centimeter representing 150 feet. That's what we are going to use. Not so. Now, this answer we have got, let us add it on this number. We get the answer here. We are getting 650. The next one is going to be what?
800.
800. Then another one is going to be 950. This one, when I add there, I'm going to get
1,000.
1,000. 1,150.
then
100. Yes. Yeah.
Here I'm going to get
1,000.
Yeah. Now, even if you end here, don't you see that already our tallest amount is represented?
Yes.
Already. So you do it on left and on right. Right? Here 650. Then here you write 0, 0. Then here you write 950. Then here you write 1100. Then here you write 1250. Then here, what do we write here? Here you write and say height in feet. Or sometimes you can say in meters. It depends on which. You can say height in feet. Sometimes you can say in meters, but it depends. I see it depends, but the one we start with, we say height in feet or height in meters. It depends on the map extract where I told you where you go in the vertical interval. Am I clear?
Yes, teacher.
Now, after doing that, people, our next step is going to, like the way we have done like that, we have added until we have got up here. Our next point is to plot. But this is how our graph is supposed to look like. Before even plotting, you need to have a title, you need to have a vertical scale, the horizontal scale, and the vertical scale. We have the distance. Are you seeing how your cross section is supposed to look? But remember, this is how we write the title. You have to tell us which area. Like, for example, you say a cross section of the area between A and B on, you tell us which map extract. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? You tell us the area of interest where they have told you to draw the cross section, and you tell us on which map extract. and is showing what?
Yeah.
Have you got it?
Yeah.
Yeah? People, have you got what I'm trying to say?
Teacher, pardon on the title.
Title. Here I'm going to say a cross section in capital letters, a cross section of the area. You tell us which area. Area between A and B. Then you have to tell us on which map extract, on either Kakuto map extract, showing blah, 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 what they have asked you. We need which area, the question where they tell you draw a cross section between grid reference A and this. Then you have to come and say a cross section of the area between grid reference this and this one and this on, you give the name of the map extract, on Kakuto map extract, on Nabisunsa map extract, showing. Are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
People,
Yes.
are we? Remember in the question already, they give you the area of interest. Now the next thing to tell us that cross section was from which map extract? On Makakuto map extract. So that even the examiner when he's marking, will know that this cross section, they extracted it from this map extract. Then you say show what they have asked you. But it's supposed to be in capital letters. Am I clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
People, remember that. The good thing, this lesson is going to be there in the system. You'll be trying again and again until you pull. After that, plotting. Now plotting is too easy. Now plotting is too easy. Plotting, people, let me give you, how do we plot? Always you start with points of the same height. For example, and remember we start from down as we go up. Don't start from up as you come down. Our starting point here is what? Now 6 what? It is 600. So 600, I will just know 600 is here. I put a dot here, it's somewhere here. Even another 600 is somewhere here. I know that all the 600s are on the same area. I plot and I know all of them, they are on this height. For plotting, it's too easy. You will be estimating and know that this number is between here and here. Am I clear? So even if I put there star, even here I put there star. Then I go to the next number. The next number is what? Is 700. So 700, we have 1, 700, 2, 3, 4. So I look at where 700 is. 700 is somewhere here. 700 is somewhere here. So I will get my ruler here. Then I look at the first 700 is somewhere here. Then the next one is somewhere here. Then the next one is somewhere here. Then the next one. Yeah. Don't you see that all the 700s I have marked them? Are you seeing how I plot? Then, am I clear, people?
Yes.
Yes.
Now the next number is 800. So 800 is here. I put here 800 is here. So I get where 800, I put there star. Then another 800 is here. Then another one, another 800 is here. Then another one is here. Okay. So then I go to the next one, is 900. 900 is below this one, 950. Then I will put it here. I'll put it here. So I will get 900. We have this one. Then we have another one, 900 here. Then do we have another one here? Another one is here. So I say it is here. It is here. Then another one also, it is here. Then I go to the next one. They are saying 10,000. 10,000 is somewhere here. It's just somewhere here below. So I'll get this one. Then even this one. Then the last one is exactly on this line here. Here. Don't you see that on the shape already I have created something? Are you seeing what I have created? I use your free hand. I connect. After connecting, I connect. I connect. I connect. I connect. I connect. Then after I connect. Are you seeing how we have got the shape? Then I can shape.
Yes, teacher.
Are you seeing how easy it is?
Yes.
Then the things, if at all on your paper here, if at all on our paper here, we had a road. A road, for me, I'll just come here. You come here where you put there an arrow and say road.
Road.
And the hill was here, and here on the paper you had a hill. You just come here and put there a point and say hill. I see. If at all they say here, there, a plantation, if at all it was here, then for me I just come also here. I draw there an arrow and I say plantation. Are you seeing how we label? Then you get free marks.
Yes, teacher.
Now we are done. Already we have our title, everything. Don't you see that, people? It was simple. The more we practice them, the more we practice them, the more we are going to improve. I'm going to be sending you, I'm not going to send you map extracts, but I'm going to draw such shapes. I draw them on the paper, or I'm going to draw their lines. Yes, Patience, I'm seeing your hand is up.
Teacher, when you are writing the scale, are we allowed to write rep instead of represents?
Better you write
like
represent, but represent doesn't eat any like a full page. It's just a small page. Just say 1 centimeter represents. Simple. Now our scale, let me remove the top part. Our scale, either you write it after the what? After the title, you come and say horizontal scale. Horizontal scale. For horizontal scale, for all map extracts, it is standard. You just write 1 till you put there this number. It's always on the map extract. I think you see that number. Then the vertical scale is always on the map extract. That one you don't change it. Vertical scale, we say our vertical scale was 1 centimeter represents
150 feet.
150 feet.
Feet.
Either you put it down or you can put it immediately after the title. All of you will be marked. Yes, Mutaisa?
Teacher, like when you are plotting, you are just estimating. When we are plotting, must we actually find what each box is worth?
It's okay, you can do it, but remember, as I told you, an examiner will not mind about your accuracy. The examiner will look at, are you in the right line? Because I can know that this number on my paper is between here and here. So me, I have to make sure that I try to put it between there. I see. Automatically, when
yes,
I draw,
teacher.
we're going to have the same shape the examiner is having on the same map extract. Am I clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Are we clear with this one? I give you another trick, the last trick.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I can remove this one. I can remove this one also.
Teacher.
Yes, teacher, you can remove.
Yes. Pardon? Yes, man.
Units.
Pardon?
On the horizontal scale, you don't put.
I don't put. Always this number is in the map extract. At the top of the map extract, try to look at it. It's always there. That one is standard. Here, what we are trying to mean that in 1 centimeters on the map extract, there are 500,000 centimeters on the actual ground. Am I clear?
Yes.
Okay, let me give you another trick quickly. I know it will confuse you, but it's not confusing. Just I'm giving you is a way of bypassing things. Whenever you find the contours, when they are too squeezed, and even you see that you to write on right, there will be too many. Let me show you. Assuming it's like this. Contours are too near each other. Even to level, you don't have even space. Have you ever seen such map extract? Where contours are too near each other, and where they have told you to draw, they are two. Assuming they are like that, people listen. Assuming the cross section is passing here. The cross section is passing there. Am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
And now what you do, people, for you just get the number for that starting contour. Assuming our contour, our vertical interval, we are using 100 feet. So assuming this one is 3, 0. So for you, you don't need to go on labeling all of them. No, just get the number of this one. Then we count the smaller ones, the inside contours. You count how many contours are there. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to here, 8, 7, 8. So 8 times 100. Each contour is having 100 feet. What do you get?
800.
800.
So when you get 800, you just add 800 on this one to get the answer for this one. 0, 0, 1, 1. So automatically this one is going to be 0. So for you, when you are drawing on your paper, you don't need to label these ones. You label this one and this one. Automatically, it's going to form a steep slope. When you are drawing your cross section, it's going to form a steep slope. You don't need to write all of them when you're writing, no. As long as you find that it's a steep slope and they are too squeezed, for you get the beginning point and count how many are here up to the top. Then you add, you draw. Without labeling, you have the same shape. This one works on the steep slope. Wow. A steep slope when the contours are too near each other. But if at all you have time and you have eyes, you can label all of them, it's fine. But I have given you a shortcut.
Thank you, teacher.
From the last.
Pardon?
Shall we start counting from the last?
Yeah, you start counting from the last as you climb. Remember, we climb. Even you can start from, actually it will depend which number. If at all it's starting from here, the number is here, here they don't have. Automatically you count as you go behind. So what you have to do is to get this number. The number, if at all is 11, 1 is 1, 1, 0. Then you count as you go down to get this one. When you know that they are 8, they are 8 times 100, you subtract to get the number. Here you subtract, as you slope, as you climb, you add to get the top. Are you getting it? You just count how many here to the last one. It's a shortcut. Either you will draw the thing. But I think I have tried my level best to explain. Am I clear?
Yes, teacher.
I'm going to, this number is too easy, but just we need continuous practice. I'm going to be sending you lines which are having contours. Then for you, you draw. You get your paper, you also copy what I have given you. Like the way I have given you, and I told you that this is a 16. Then for you also, you copy. You draw that, then you try. All of you will see that even if we have differences in the spaces between the contours, we are going to be having the same shape. Am I clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Thank you for attending the lesson.
Thank you so much, teacher, for the lesson.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher, for the lesson.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Namudaala. We appreciate.
Welcome. Stay at home. Don't eat too much. In
Stay at
Ramadan.
school too.
Bye.
Teacher,
Bye.
Okay, bye, teacher.
teacher,
Yes.
may I have a
Yes.
history question?
Ask.
Teacher, as the questions you set for us are very twisted.
Munai, that's nowadays, that's how people are doing history. Now history is harder than even mathematics and physics. It needs someone who has been eating tilapia. Either for you who depends on silverfish, I think you can no longer manage history. History papers right now, they are like pre-entry exams for law. So what you need to know is you understand the concept, not cramming.
Teacher, now what concept? Because you can set a question when we can get the answers from over 3 headings, and then I don't know which heading to pick.
Okay, inshallah, when you come back to school, we shall discuss about that.
Okay, teacher. Thank you, teacher.
Welcome. Okay, bye.
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 Bye. Thank you for the lesson.
Welcome.